am driving around Hollywod Forever Cemetery right now, going around the pond, Sylvan Pond. Just hung out with Max, Tim, who longtime, very good friend, and of course the host, my co-host on the Fantastic Story Society. It had been a few years since he'd been here, and there's always new things to show people when you come to this location. Also, there's always new things that I'm finding that even if they've been here a long time, I'm seeing them for the first time. Most notably for me today, finally locating the grave of Benjamin Bugsy Siegel. I've been looking in all the wrong places for way too long, but finally found his grave. The interesting thing, I always love telling the ghost story about the fact that, you know, half of this property, almost half of this property, like 40% of it, eventually got sold off to Paramount Pictures, and Paramount built their backlots on what was once unused, undeveloped, unutilized cemetery property. And it has led to, I don't know if that's what's led to it, but just in general, people have seen people walking from the back portion of the cemetery over into Paramount Pictures, and those backlots, those sound stages that border Hollywod Forever Cemetery are the most haunted, as if people who once worked in the business are going back to work. As you see a peacock off to your right now, one of the many things this location is known for. Anyway, so I'm actually heading over to Paramount right now. I have a I'm going to see a show that a friend of mine is producing, and I have a drive on, which just always makes me think of the Albert Brooks movie, The Muse, where he is a screenwriter and his stock in the industry is going down and he no longer can have a drive on, he gets a walk on, and his ego takes that very personally. So I am ahead of that guy because I get a drive on today. So we're gonna head over to Paramount Pictures right now, which is just basically on the other side of this same block. This is all kinds of amazing because the lot I'm going to, the soundstage I should say I'm going to, is in the far back corner. So I was hoping it was going to be one that borders Hollywod Forever Cemetery, and it is. On top of that, it's the one that's like right up against where Bugsy Siegel's grave is. So I was just there, but on the other side. Oh, and here's that huge water tank where they do so much big outdoor water shooting. I think it was featured in the TV series Love as well. Anyway, very cool. I just finished attending the taping of a pretty cool show, pretty fun show. Some cool surprise stars in it too. Yeah, this is full circle for me because this is the first soundstage I was ever on, first backlot I was ever in, because I worked on Daddy Daycare, which shot here on the Paramount Lot. I was still in college then. I was an intern. And that was, I write about this in my book a little bit. I was working for Revolution Studios. I got to do all sorts of cool development, executive type work. And then they got me on a couple of sets, Daddy Daycare, and at the same time, Hollywood Homicide with Harrison Ford and Josh Hartnett was in pre-production. So I worked on both of those. But anyway, Paramount was the first studio I ever set foot on, the first backlot, other than, I guess, the CBS Radford lot. But I went there for school. This is the first one I ever worked on. And that was around the same time that, I always tell people, it's when Minority Report was just coming out. And that had shot here, so it was wrapped up here, but the cars were all on display still. And NYPD Blue was shooting here, so there was New York police cars everywhere, and cabs and, you know, stuff like that. It was funny today because you see a whole bunch of nurses walking around. So some sort of a medical show was definitely shooting here. So, okay, there we go. So, legend has it that these walls were put up because Valentino was going to become one of the Paramount players. He was going to make movies here at Paramount. And he was, you know, being such a hugely important and popular actor, heartthrob, these walls were going to be erected to keep his fans at bay. But obviously that need never arose as he passed away before he could ever actually shoot on this lot. But June Mathis, who was the person that discovered Valentino and really an important screenwriter, and you know, she doesn't get enough credit today, I don't think, because she lived an incredible life. She was, I want to say, the very first executive that worked for Paramount. She was one of the very first female executives anywhere. But I think for Paramount, she was the first female executive to ever work for Paramount. So, interred side by side at Hollywod Forever Cemetery, which is, yep, on that same, essentially the same property, the same block as Hollywod Forever Cemetery and Paramount Studios. So just kind of cool to, even today, going to see something that's modern and shooting right now, as we are constantly, if we're telling ghost stories, we're constantly looking back into history, and sometimes deep history, the early days of Hollywood or earlier. But there's that constant connection. The soundstage I was on today, they're shooting a very fun, very silly late night talk show on it, but it's where they shot The Godfather several decades ago. So there's that constant connection in Hollywood between what is cool and what is cutting edge, and whether it's technology or whoever's hot as far as celebrities are concerned. But there's that constant history, because we're building on top of history all the time, especially in a place like Hollywood, where the old sound stages are still the same old sound stages, and they're still operating today. Not everything has yet been turned into condos and strip malls. Most things have, but some things remain. All right, thanks for going on this little memory lane drive with me today. And if I can find more ways to do stuff like this, maybe it'll be a new format I check out. But if there's any places, it doesn't have to be LA or Hollywood, any places in America, and hell, I'll go overseas, I'll go anywhere. Any place that you want to see me cover and, you know, give my take on it, please let me know. I'd happily take your requests and try to make something happen. Thanks for watching.